Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to today's Forex market check. Let's get into it. So obviously we had a potential accumulation model on silver which we were monitoring yesterday, and we actually entered live. If you watched yesterday's update and got stopped out, that is the nature of the business. It was right here, but price just kept coming down and moved lower. The only reason it could have done that, which is what I had charted up as well, was because of this sell side liquidity on the higher time frame. So essentially what price did was just take out all these lows. Given it has done that, I just don't see much reason to go much lower. I do think we'll go as low as this demand and mitigate a good chunk of this demand. Therefore I now think that this range is I now see that this range is most likely going to be our main priority. Grab this supply out. It's not of any use. So now essentially from here, plan's pretty simple. Wait for a decent mitigation of this demand, and then we need price to come back in here quite nicely, create that third tap, or create that second tap, which is here. That's our second tap, and then slowly come down, maintaining a nice return to zone, break structure, boom, and then we can enter and take it to the range high. So that is the plan for silver. I think we're now going to be bearish on quite a few things. We're still bearish on the 4 hour. Nothing has changed there, and we're probably going to be bearish on the 3 and the 1 hour as well. Yeah, so we're bearish across the board here. Just bullish on the weekly. But as we can see, there is a lovely return to zone coming in. If we can get a little local scalp, let's say, I'm more than willing to try. And what I mean by that is, if here we get something local, or we mitigate this demand, come back, tap 3, and then break structure, so you get a little like local range, I am happy to try that. But yeah, I need part of this demand to be mitigated first and foremost. So let's see how our price develops there. Not a whole lot more to be done other than just being patient and waiting for a demand mitigation of this higher time frame demand POI. All right, let's have a look at gold. Now you could potentially look at this as a model 1. You can, but we're just obviously bearish, so keep that in mind. Like, yeah, we're bearish on every time frame here, so you just got to be mindful of that. So I'm not really rushing too long anything here, but I will dive a little bit deeper into this. There's somewhat of liquidity here, resting below. Yeah, like everything is just, there's no real reason to enter this. Yes, it is a model one, but it's counter context and there is close to no return to zone here. It is just not that clean, to be honest. We've also left behind liquidity here. So we've left behind some sell side liquidity right here, which got taken out, but then we've created higher lows. And we've, yeah, essentially we're leaving behind liquidity here. So I'm not eager to trade this. If everything here was bullish, then I could make an exception. Yes, we might be leaving a little bit of liquidity. There might not be the cleanest return to zone, but context is very bullish, but that's not the case. So that's why I'm not really too fond of this, yeah, not too fond of this gold range. The only thing I am willing to do is potentially look at it from this perspective. Oops, I've done it again. Let's leave that there. The only thing I'm willing to do is look at it from this perspective of this potentially being a new range, and we prioritize the model one, sweeping this liquidity. That would be preferred. And we do something like this, come up, sweep liquidity, and then maybe break, depending on what the context is. So yeah, that's kind of it for gold. Not a whole lot has changed, but I will draw this out just to make me remember that there has been somewhat of an accumulation right here. Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, overall, to summarize once more, gold is still quite bearish across the board, with the exception for the weekly, and that is our weekly low there. All right, let's have a look at oil. Not a whole lot to do in oil. We're still bullish, very much so still bullish, and we're still prioritizing this range, so nothing has changed. When we're going to get any sort of confirmations here, it will occur next week. Yeah, like this whole range comes down to how the weekly open on Monday is going to occur most likely. We might have a deviation before tomorrow, and then maybe the weekly open happens like this, occurs like that, and then we continue going lower, sweep that, and then accumulate. This is just a hypothetical, but I wouldn't be looking at anything further until the weekly open on a Monday. Euro USD, let's keep the ball rolling. Okay, I like how we've mitigated demand quite a bit here. I like this a lot, actually. Bullish. Oh, we're still bearish on the 4. Yeah, we're essentially still bearish on the 4 and still bullish on the 1 hour. Everything else remains the same. So yeah. So yeah, plan at the moment is honestly, let's look for a where is our hourly low out of curiosity? So that is the hourly low, but I think it's valid on a higher time frame as well. Maybe on the 2. Was this valid market structure? Okay, this was actually valid market structure. Yeah, so it's valid on the 2. So that's a 2-hour low right there. So even if we confirm the distribution model, but if we SFP or fail to break the this 2-hour low, then we could be looking at potentially de-risking. But this is obviously very planning way too far in. Oh no, actually not really way too far. You can never plan too far in advance, but it's just good pre-planning, which should be done. So this is our 2-hour market structure loan. I'm not really seeing any clean third tab POIs. Like I kind of have to use this. Yes, it has grabbed this low, but it's also this high here has left liquidity. So this to me is a valid extreme liquidity POI. So let's see if we can yeah, move up into it, leaving a nice return to zone. Yeah, so that is my extreme liquidity POI. Not a whole lot has changed. In terms of sessions, which can be a further confluence, Asia high and low have been taken out, so that's just something to consider. But yeah, look, if the return to zone is great, I'm happy to try my luck at a short here. So we will see. But yeah, this here is just way too narrow to be a third tap for me. Way too narrow. So yeah, let's keep the ball rolling. Leaving behind some nice buy side, I can see that straight away. And we're bearish on the hourly, but we are still bullish on the 4-hour. So yeah, outside of the hourly, everything else kind of remains bullish. Even the 2-hour, 2-hour still bullish. So just be wary of that. Could this be a little accumulation scalp? We'll obviously have a look. The only thing I don't like about this is that there's just no POI here that price could reject from. Like there's no reason for us to, you know, randomly reject. We're also in a fairly dodgy looking distribution model. So depending on how we close on this candle, we could be bullish on the day, but we're not. Actually no, we are still very much so bearish. Yep. Yeah, this is our daily high. But as you can see, we've just SFP'd it. We've just continued to SFP it. But yeah, I'd much rather us reject from here due to a demand POI below rather than just reject randomly. And also the fact we've kind of distributed here locally. I mean, that being said, I'll still monitor this. But as of right now, it's not really the most convincing price action to me. Like, yeah, Asia highs, session high. Or Asia highs, range high. So you can look at it from that perspective. But yeah, with this range, the only valid extreme liquidity is this right here. So we'll see if we get that confirmation. But yeah, as I've said, there's just the one thing I don't like about this range is that there's just no demand below. Outside of this, there's no reason for price to just randomly reject. And also the fact that we distributed so. And the 1 hour is bearish. So there's a few reasons to not yeah, there's a few reasons to not take this. So let's see. Liquidity is nice though. It's not bad. But it even starts from all the way up here. All right, let's have a look at AUD USD. Well, this prediction's going to absolute shit, as we can see. Yeah, not a lot more than I need to do here. AUD USD. Well, we're bearish on the hourly. Where's my Did I just delete this or is it still there? I think I did delete it. Yes, I did. Okay, we're bearish on the hour, but bullish across everything else. That is fine. And the daily too, quite possibly. Yes, daily is bearish. But yeah, locally speaking, not a whole lot that I'm too interested in at the moment for AUD USD. Is there a reason why I didn't mark this? I think it must have been mitigated on the lower time frame. No, okay, it's valid. Who knows? But yeah, nothing too interesting for AUD USD at the moment. And then obviously nothing interesting locally. So I am just still patient here. USD CHF, let's have a look. Still bearish on the 2. And still bearish on the 1. We front ran supply. Yeah, nothing has really changed. Yeah, nothing has changed here. We're still bearish. We are still bearish, and is this valid supply? I don't think it might be. No, it has been mitigated, as you can see. Yeah, no, honestly, nothing to do at the moment for USD CHF. I feel like I'm just trying to pull something out of nothing with this range, so we'll leave that as is. Contextually speaking, nothing has changed either. So yeah, just still bearish here. GBP AUD. I feel like something may have changed here contextually, unless it hasn't. Still bullish, still very much so bullish. Obviously, we had a distribution here. Asia highs never got taken, so it wasn't the cleanest distribution. But we're still bullish, so trade with the context, I guess. That's all I can say. You know what? Let's monitor this as a potential range. Still quite a bit of time. But this could just be a higher low for a high high potentially. We'll see. But yeah, overall we're just quite bullish here, so not a whole lot more to do. And we have some demand in here. That is the GBP AUD plan for now. And I can put this here, which will showcase where the true inefficiency is. Yeah, that is all I can do at the moment for GBP AUD. Let's have a look at AUD CAD. Okay, well, we've obviously hit a potential third tap here, but I have a feeling that price is... is it? I think I'd like to say we're bearish now. Well, that is our hourly low, which we've obviously broken structure there, so we are bearish on the hourly. Those wicks there also aren't the best signal as well. Nevertheless, we are though still bullish on the 4 hour. We have also created somewhat of a demand chain. Curious to see if this is valid supply. What does this look like on the lower time frame? Technically speaking, it has been mitigated. There you go. It's not really valid supply. You could potentially use this. So this is valid supply, but it's just not the most, you know, crucial. It hasn't really grabbed anything. It's just kind of sitting there, so you might get temporary rejections from it. And there's also quite some nice liquidity above us, as you can see. I'm happy to look at this as a potential tap 3, but I do need a clean entry. So at the moment, is this also valid on the 30? Okay, at the moment, this is your 15-minute market structure high, which has been SFP'd. So it'll be interesting to see how we react from this demand. Outside of the 1 hour being bearish, it's somewhat of it's a fairly pro context move, this, because everything else is bullish, as you can see. Also, this has all been grabbed. This has all been grabbed. This has all been grabbed. So everything's kind of just been grabbed here, which is what I do like. Right now, there's only this which you can kind of use as liquidity. And I also can use this as a test entry. So what I mean by that is we haven't broken structure, so we can use this as a test in the way that I've spoken about this before. The price comes back down to psych out people thinking that it's gonna, anyone that's longed here, it will force them to, or make them potentially sell their position, because they're going to think, oh, price is going to come down and stop me out, when in fact price is just going to mitigate demand and then boom, break structure and pump. Hence the test. It will test all the people that have bought in this tap, if you will, by breaking structure, making people long, and then quickly coming down. Everyone's going to be like, shit, 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 panic sell, panic sell, panic sell. And then prices are going to resume its upward trajectory. So yeah, I am monitoring this from a test perspective. As of if this was a valid test, the only valid market structure, which isn't the best, would have to be 3-minute structure, which is up here. So this is a valid 3-minute market structure high, but I need a demand mitigation first and foremost. So I am willing to use this as a potential market structure high, and for a test I will keep a very tight stop. So we'll see if we can break this 3-minute market structure high. Okay. All right, let's leave that as is. GBP NZD. We've entered demand. Still bearish. Yeah, still bearish. Daily, is that still okay? Yeah. Okay, contextually, nothing has really changed here. We are in demand. That's just something that should be aware of. Could use this as a temporary long, unless we start rejecting now, maybe. I think we are going to go lower, but you know what? For the sake of the exercise, maybe we start rejecting and pushing up. Other than that, there's nothing else I'm seeing here. We're overall just trending bearishly. So I expect price to go lower and make its way towards this demand here. We will see. All right, USD JPY. And here we have, finally, a move out of the compression, but I like it to be a bit clearer. It's not really the best move, is it? But yeah, nevertheless, I need this a bit more time. I am not interested in anything at the moment for USD JPY. Let's wait for some better price action. We are leaving some nice liquidity below. Just be mindful of that, which is right here. Boom. All right, AUD-CHF, let's have a look. Well, I'm definitely going to look at this as a potential distribution, but quite a while away from that happening, I feel like it. So we broke to bearish there, we've broken to bullish. Still bullish. Nothing has changed yet. We're still very much so bullish. Yeah, very much so bullish. If we can catch a accumulation scalp, I will, but not really seeing anything here. Yeah. The only thing I can do for this range at the moment is put a extreme liquidity POI right here, and that is it. Not a whole lot more to do. Whoops. Oh no, I've done it before. Luckily I know the pair. I think it was FXCM. Pretty sure it was FXCM. Yes, it was. Perfect. Let's move this up. Boom. Yeah, so AUD CHF, that is all I'm willing to do. There's our extreme liquidity. Let's be patient and see what happens. For Euro NZD, lovely sell side liquidity. I do like to see. Still bearish. Still bearish across the board here. Let's look for... Yeah, I wouldn't be looking too long here at all. Very much so bearish. Let's look for redistribution POIs. That's all I can really do. But there's nothing clean at the moment, so let's be patient and see what price continues to do. Euro GBP. Well, we're looking bullish, at least low time frame. Still bearish on the 4. Even on the 1, we're still bearish here. So I guess the only thing I'd be doing here is looking for redistributions, but I'm not seeing anything at the moment. So we will remain patient. Remain patient. USD CAD. Where's my here it is. What's it doing all the way there? Boom. Okay, so we've entered demand. Still bearish on the 1 hour. That was our SFP. We've obviously mitigated demand. Yeah, overall we're just still bearish here, so not a whole lot to do. The only thing I'll do is potentially monitor this as a range later on, but price needs a bit more time, which I don't think we'll get this today. Asia highs untapped. Nice. So we'll see what happens here. Overall, still bearish. GBP USD. Still bullish. Very much so still bullish. Price action looks really, really good. I like it. Can this be a potential range? Are those equal highs? Those are my questions that I am asking at the moment. There's no return to zone. No, not really the best range. Let's wait till we mitigate some of this demand. We left supply above us. Yeah, nothing else really to do here. Let's be patient and see what happens. And then GBP JPY. Bullish across the board. yeah, still bullish. The only thing I'm doing is waiting for a potential reaccumulation. Nothing more that can be done here. That's literally it. That's all I'm pre-planning for here. This is as bullish as you can get. There's no, even like locally from a topping perspective, there's no really local top here. You can see we're leaving behind some nice buy side liquidity, which I do feel like we're going to come back and sweep. There's also supply pretty close, so I do think that we're going to continue higher. That is it for today, guys. Hope you found this useful. To summarize, keep an eye out on this potential gold move. Silver is, yeah, potentially accumulating. It is counter context though, so keep in mind that as well. Oil is just ranging here, and in terms of Forex, probably my main move here is Euro USD, but this is going to be a next week problem, so don't really spend too much time on that. And then from a local perspective, yeah, maybe NZD CAD here, we get a very local scalp. Contextually, it's kind of neutral, I'd say. Let's see how we move back down into that extreme liquidity PLY. And then we got AUD USD, which isn't really doing a whole lot. USD CHF not doing a whole lot. And then yeah, we got quite a few other pairs which aren't really doing a whole lot. So it's all just about how we how price moves in the next coming days. And then we have this test entry, which could actually be, I don't like how the hourly is bearish though. That's a nice break. That is honestly a nice break. I think this was mitigate on the lower, yeah, this was. Yeah, you know what, I'm going to play it safe. I've seen a lot better setups. And we're also SFPing. We're not even SFPing, we're failing to. Yeah, we've already looked at this. Yeah, I've seen better setups, so I'm not really too keen on longing this at the moment. And then from a distance perspective, tab 1 to tab 2 is 5 days, 12 hours. Tab 2 to present is 3 days. Okay. Look, if we move down following a local return to zone, sweep this, break, I'm happy to take this as a Model 1, but as a Model 2, not really looking forward to it. Oh yeah, I'm just not keen to trade this Model 2. It's also quite deep into the range as well, so keep that in mind as well. So yeah, preferably Model 1. If we don't get the Model 1, no trade. So yeah, that is it for today, guys. I'll do a crypto video shortly, but other than that, thanks for viewing, listening, and subscribe if you've made it this far, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.